Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the second week of April. So what we're looking at is April 8th through the 14th. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at where all the planets are transiting each day of this week and the aspects the planets may be forming in the heavens. So remember the most important planet that I focus in on, because it's the planet that is like really the second hand, or should I say the second hand of the clock for the moon. The moon is everything in terms of what we're experiencing as a public and what's going on. We don't have a time for a birth chart, but we can look at where all the planets are relative to the moon. And let me tell you, it gives us volumes of information in terms of what we can expect each and every day to be prepared for what's happening. Remember, I'm talking about Central Standard Time or Central Daylight Time. Now we're on Daylight Savings Time. I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and I want to know where you are. And I looked it up. Australia is 16 hours ahead. England is 6 hours ahead. Central Europe is 7 hours from the times that I'm going to be speaking of. Turkey is about 9 hours, and New Delhi is 10.5 hours. So get a feel and a sense for where you are relative. I can't do this for every single time zone of the world, but you can figure it out. So let me know where you are. Now, another thing is I am talking about sidereal Vedic placements. These are actually astronomically correct according to astronomy. So they are relative and accurate. So before I dig in here, I want to remind everyone, my galactic planner will take all of this from what's happening in the sky and apply it to your personal birth chart. So if you want to know how this affects you on a personal level, you're going to want to get the Galactic Planner. Go to galacticplanner.com. It is such a bargain. Let me tell you, it is inexpensive, especially for what it's going to provide for you to be able to be on top of things and make the right decisions and the right moves in your life according to the stars. So go to galacticplanner.com. Now let's talk about how all of this is going to affect all of us around the world. So looking at April 8th, this is a Tuesday, and of course I'm looking around midday, Central Daylight Time. The moon is in Leo today, and it will be for the most part in the nakshatra Magha. Magha's symbol is a throne. It deals with kingship, deals with leaders. And with this moon being in Magha, Magha also deals with our heritage and interest in our heredity, our forefathers who came before us. So if this is something that pops in your mind today, this is why. It really is relative that these nakshatras and these signs play out in our personal lives, and you know why you think certain things that come into your mind. It's so interesting and amazing that this is how it works. So looking at where the moon is, though, in Leo, you're going to find that all those planets that are in Pisces right now go to the 8th house from the moon. So this is a deep day for introspection. It's a Tuesday. Tuesdays are actually ruled by Mars. So this is not an easy day. It deals with a sense of loss and difficulty. All the planets are 8th from the moon. The 8th house deals with deep introspection, psychology, but it can also deal with endings and death and difficulty. So do be aware, what the feel is out there is not easy. It's turbulent. Things are being shook up during this time. Now, it's not a great time financially in the world because K2 sits in the second house counting from the moon. Remember, I'm not talking about a chart. I'm talking about everything relative to the moon. So don't get confused with this. I know what I'm doing with this, and this truly works. So, but one thing that's really nice about this day, even though everything's fallen apart, is that Jupiter is in Taurus. And it goes to the 10th house from the moon. So anything to do with your work, wanting some expansion, direction in your career, and feeling a sense of purpose, this is good for this, with Jupiter being 10th from the moon. And it will continue to be 10th tomorrow as well. So April 8th and April 9th. But Jupiter is now at that 23 degree mark. And this will continue for about the next week. Catastrophic events usually happen when we have Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. I have proved my point time and time again that events happen when planets hit that degree marking. It is actually the fixed star Rigel, but it does cause major events. So be on the lookout. Things are getting ready to blow, if they haven't already. I think it's all a process of big change that's coming about. Now, I got to say too that with Mars being in the 12th house from where the moon is, there's a lot of undercurrents and secrets that are about to come out and be exposed. All right, let's go to the next day. April 9th. I'm looking at April 9th, and the moon is still in Leo, but it shifts to the nakshatra Purva Falguni. And Purva Falguni is part of Purva and Uttara Falguni, are part said to be the marriage nakshatras. Now, does this mean you're going to get married? No, but it does mean that this is a good day to work on your relationships. And I'm not saying it's going to be a great day because all those planets are in the 8th house. And when I say all those planets, I mean Venus, Saturn, Mercury, Rahu, Neptune, and Sun are all in the 8th house from the moon. The 8th house deals with deep introspection, psychology, transformational things that could change our lives forever. And this is what we're all working on. And this can have an effect in healing, either mending or breaking a relationship. So use this day for deep introspection to understand your relationships and people around you. And once again, while Jupiter still sits 10th from the moon, and it's closer by degree, this is a good day for you to progress and push forward with work and feeling like you have a sense of purpose with your workplace. Okay, so let's go to the next day, which is April 10th. And April 10th is not a very good day, but let me go back a bit. This week, yes, I wanted to talk about that now this week. Mercury is direct, and I failed to tell you that on April 7th, it turned direct. But let me say this, when a planet shifts from retrograde to direct or direct to retrograde, there's still a period of confusion because people change their mind, especially with Mercury, because Mercury deals with the thinking process in the mind. So, you know, it's funny with Mercury being retrograde, and while I'm doing these, I forgot to tell you Mercury is retrograde on April 7th. I mean that it went direct because Mercury clouds the mind. But regardless, Mercury being right there stationed at 3 degrees of Pisces, exactly with Rahu, and then it shifts directions. Let me say from April 7th through really this whole second week of April. Expect the unexpected with communications, mishaps, miscommunications, everything to do with computers, technology, as well as, I know I'm a broken record, but I want to get this through your head. Traveling is very, very difficult during this time. All sorts of things are happening. Computers, outages, things of that nature. So be aware that there is a major shift going on with Mercury. Even though it's turned direct, it is with Rahu debilitated, and just because it's shifted to its direct position means there's even more chaos because there's a big shift and change. But soon things will start to improve and get better. Yes, you don't have to cancel all your plans this month, but during this time, please be aware. Now, this day I'm talking about April 10th, focusing in on where the moon is. We are right before the full moon, which the moon is very bright during this time, which is good, but it's with K2. And the moon being with K2 is not good. So it deals particularly with losses, a sense of loss. And I have found that when the moon comes together with K2, the stock market even plummets more. Usually, not all the time, but I have found this to be pretty consistent. So be aware. Now, I know the economy is not what the stock market is, but a lot of you have asked me over and over again, is it time to invest? And I say, yeah, if it plummets like I think it should, it is a time to invest, all right? In the stock market, that is. Now, I will say the housing markets are still in a difficult place, but we're starting to climb out of that too. Give it a little bit more time with the housing markets. But this day starts to have major repercussions with relationships because we're coming into this place of this full moon that will be in a few days, and things concerning relationships are going to go topsy-turvy. Be aware. It's not a good day to propose or to things are just, we can't get our message across clearly. That's what I'm seeing. So let's go to April 11th. This is a Friday. And on April 11th, we are looking at Mars being 3 degrees. Now, this degree mark bothers me a lot because I happen to know that Mars and Rahu are exactly in a trinal aspect. That means they're 120 degrees from each other. And this means they're conjunct. And Rahu Mars is treacherous. Mars is anger, Mars is war, Mars is fighting, and Rahu makes it bigger. So this expands things dealing with fighting, war. This is the month I think the war is going to definitely break out and be more serious. And we also have Jupiter at that sensitive degree that causes major issues. I'm concerned about this time period in April. I always have been. I've been looking at this with great concern, and now we're here. So be aware. Now the moon is in Virgo. As I said, it's crossed over K2. That was yesterday. Now it sits in the nakshatra called Hasta. And Hasta is the hand. It means, this is a time to really grasp on and hold on to information. Things are becoming clearer, even though there's still mass confusion going on. The moon is in Mercury's sign, and Mercury is the planet that is probably in the deepest trouble right now. I gotta say that. it really is in trouble because of all the things I talked about. Now we have Mercury getting closer to Neptune. Oh my gosh, Mercury is the planet to everything is haywire. Don't trust anything you hear in the media or people are telling you. Trust your gut. Listen to that, because that is not part of the outside world. All right, let's go to April 12th. This is a Saturday. The moon sits here in Virgo. And now it's in the last part of Virgo, so it is in the nakshatra called Chitra. And Chitra is the bright and shining one. Chitra is ruled by Mars though, so it is very hectic. But today we have a lot going on. Let me inform you. Today is the full moon. The moon is full, and the moon will be full at that 29-degree mark in Virgo. And as I've been talking about for the last 6 months, from November onward to April, every full moon sits at 29 degrees. This is a degree that marks an end before a beginning. The moon will be conjunct the fixed star Spica, which can mean overnight revelations. It is a powerful fixed star, and it's said to be a star of literary genius. So people can, that are creative with writers and such, can really be more creative during this full moon. Now, another thing that I'm not forgetting to tell you is this is the day that Venus turns direct. So now we have Mercury direct, and now we have Venus direct. And Venus, let me just tell you, this whole process of Venus retrograde, especially right now, will pertain to a movement towards the necessary need of peace treaties. Yes, we need peace. Venus is the planet of peace. And let me just say, I've been talking about this. If you're getting my newsletter, you will know all this. But Venus deals with peace. And by the end of August and to the end of the year, we're looking at some peace treaties. Things are going to start to change. But right now, we're in the middle of it. Let me just say right now, this is the darkest time, if I could say. We've got another one, June and July, but after that, we're in the clear. So right now, things are really being surfaced and purged to a great extent. So with Venus turning direct, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start thinking about what you've learned about your relationships, how you relate to your loved ones in a relationship, because Venus retrograde is always about a healing in relationships. Yes, it can bring back old feelings and sometimes past old loves, but this is what you're supposed to learn from. I want you to analyze and consider what you have learned about your past relationships in order to heal them and have healthy relationships in your future. So now I want to go to April 13th. This is a Sunday. The moon has shifted into Libra, and it will be in the nakshatra called Swati. And Libra is the sign that deals with peace. It's ruled by Venus, right? And we do have the moon being in Swati, which can mean be careful of people that are so overly convincing that you can get snowed by them, because Swati can deal with manipulation with communications. It can. But use this power for yourself if you need to convince people of something that you feel is important. Truthful, that is. Because Libra is the sign of what? Justice. Its symbol is the balance, the scales. That's Libra. So be aware of that. But I will say Jupiter goes to the 8th house from the moon right now. And this actually pertains to inner healing as well. I don't like Jupiter this whole week being at 23 degrees though. Something's up. Now, with all these planets being in Pisces, they go to the 6th house from the moon. So this is a time of difficulty, possible accidents, and probably enemies coming out. So be aware of people that you might consider that if you feel like they're not really your friends, then you're right, because this deals with enemies. But basically, anything being in the 6th house deals with open enemies. So you're well aware of who they are, yes. So Mars sits debilitated in Cancer, and it's 10th from the moon. So be aware there can be all sorts of havoc and difficulty at work, and particularly with your boss. Okay. Now we're looking at the last day I'm going to analyze for this week, which is April 14th. And on April 14th, we actually have the moon still is going to be in Libra, but it has just shifted over by 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This is a Monday. The moon shifts into Vishaka. Vishaka is the triumphal one, deals with victory. So this is a time that you can push forward for what you want and need and want to manifest. Although all these planets in the 6th house, maybe you need to focus in on health and healing, getting healthier. This is important. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Health is wealth. So this is what I think today should give you more of a focus with. Now, Mars is still in the 10th from the moon. Be careful of what you say around the workplace, that you don't threaten others, particularly your boss. And if you have your own business, be careful what you do and say to your employees. That is actually yesterday, but today is Monday, so you're in the workplace, so today. Now that covers the 2nd week of April. This is an intense month. I just can't get over all the things I'm seeing, and it doesn't let up. All right, so get ready to be prepared for the 3rd week of April. That will be coming out. And if this has inspired you to learn Vedic astrology, I have a university, and it will prepare you to actually learn to do what I do. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com, become my student, and you can join anytime. It doesn't matter when. Now, one more thing I want to add about this. If you haven't signed up for my free newsletter, do so. You will get all of my predictions weekly to keep you in the know and keep you prepared. Go to galacticcenter.org. While you're there, do not forget to check out my Patreon page. Become part of our spiritual community, and you will be able to converse with me live every week. Personally, I would love to see you in that group and get to know you better. So go to galacticcenter.org. Thank you.